Sacrifice is a word often misunderstood. Most people associate it with loss, with giving something up and getting nothing in return. But in truth, sacrifice is an exchange, giving up something lesser to gain something greater. When you want to break free from the patterns that bind you, when you desire a life that is built on purpose and discipline, sacrifice becomes the entry point. It is the very act of saying, I will no longer carry what weighs me down. To break free, you must confront the areas of your life where comfort has become a cage. Running the park. The comfort of staying quiet when you should speak up. The comfort of procrastinating when you should be taking action. The comfort of choosing temporary pleasure instead of long-term fulfillment. Every person who has ever achieved something meaningful has had to sacrifice. Not once. Repeatedly, they had to give up their time, energy, often their old identity. You see, there is a price to be paid for every new level of growth, and that price is paid in sacrifice. Running through the park, you don't become focused without letting go of distraction. You don't become strong without letting go of weakness. You don't become free without letting go of everything that enslaves your mind. That means you have to look inward deeply and honestly. Running the park. Ask yourself, what habits keeping me small? What thoughts are keeping me afraid? What relationships are keeping me stuck? And most importantly, what am I clinging to that I need to release? The process of breaking free is not comfortable. It requires you to endure discomfort on purpose. It asks you to wake up early when your mind begs for more sleep. To keep going when your body screams for rest. To stay grounded when your emotions pull you toward chaos. This is not punishment. It is purification. You are training your mind and body to operate at a higher level. You are telling your old self, your time is over. And that voice of the past, it will fight. It will tempt you to quit. But if you keep sacrificing the noise, the weakness, the lies, you will find clarity. You will find your true self buried beneath the layers of fear and doubt. Breaking free means making peace with struggle. It means choosing the hard path not because you enjoy pain, but because you see the purpose behind it. It means learning to value discipline over distraction, solitude over approval, growth over comfort. This is the work of a warrior, not a fighter of others, but of self. And the prize is not fame or applause. It's inner freedom. The kind that no one can give you and no one can take away. So begin now. Choose one thing to sacrifice. Do it with intention. Do it repeatedly. Be your practice. And slowly you will feel the chains loosen. The cage will open. And you will realize you were never truly trapped. Running the park, you were just holding on to what needed to be released. To truly break free from the limitations in your life, you must begin by recognizing one core truth: in growth and comfort do not coexist. If your goal is to evolve, running the park, to rise above your current state and reach a higher version of yourself, you must willingly let go of the things that offer short-term comfort but long-term regret. This means sacrifice. Not as an act of suffering, as a deliberate decision to give up what no longer aligns with your future. Whether it's bad habits, toxic relationships, limiting beliefs, or unproductive routines. Freedom requires that you walk away from the weight that holds you down. Often, people ask for change without being willing to pay the price. They want strength without the discipline. Running through the park, they want clarity without turning off the noise. They want a peaceful mind while continuing to feed their distractions. Running through the park. But life doesn't work that way. There's no transformation without letting go. There's no freedom without sacrifice. You can't bring your old ways into your new life. Something has to be left behind. This is the uncomfortable reality, and the faster you embrace it, the sooner you begin to see real progress. Think of it like climbing a mountain. The higher you go, the less you can carry. At the base, You might be holding onto excuses, resentment, fear of judgment. But as you ascend, the air gets thinner and the climb more demanding. You have to drop the unnecessary. Every step upward requires you to choose, stay where you are or let go and rise the path. The stronger your desire for freedom, the more willing you must be to detach from what's familiar, even if it hurts, even if it's all you've known. And here's the key. Sacrifice is not always dramatic. Sometimes it's silent. It's choosing not to scroll your phone and instead sit with your thoughts. It's choosing to stay disciplined when no one is watching. It's choosing to say no when your old self would say yes out of habit. These small sacrifices build the foundation of mental strength. They shift your identity from someone who reacts to someone who chooses. And once you take control of your choices, you take control of your life. The mind is both your master and your servant. If you do not command it, it will command you. And to master it, you must train it. Through that, training comes from sacrifice. When you deny the urge to give in to comfort, you strengthen your will. When you sit in silence instead of noise, you strengthen your awareness. When you face your fears instead of running from them, you strengthen your courage. Every act of sacrifice builds a muscle. Over time, these sacrifices become your strength, and your strength becomes your freedom. So understand, you are not being asked to suffer. You are being invited to rise. Rising requires release. Ask yourself what you need to let go of. Then take the step, and with each step running through the park, you'll come closer to the freedom that's been waiting for you all along. Freedom, in its highest form, is not about having more. It is about needing less. It is not about escaping the world, mastering yourself within it. This kind of freedom does not come without cost. It requires sacrifice. Not in the sense of punishment or forced suffering, but as a necessary offering to become the person you are capable of becoming. Every step toward your true potential requires the surrender of something lesser. And more often than not, what you must let go of is internal, your attachments, your excuses, your stories, your comfort. We live in a time where convenience is celebrated, where discomfort is avoided at all costs. But the truth is, nothing worth having comes without resistance. Growth is forged in struggle, and freedom is born in discomfort. If you want to break free from the invisible chains that bind you, be it fear, doubt, anxiety, laziness, or dependency, you must choose the path of discipline. And discipline demands sacrifice. It asks you to give up the easy path for the right one. It asks you to let go of temporary relief in exchange for lasting fulfillment. Look around you. Most people are stuck not because they lack talent or potential, but because they refuse to sacrifice. They want change, but not at the cost of their habits. They want strength, but they still cling to weakness. They want clarity, but won't give up distraction. What makes the difference between those who remain stuck and those who evolve is not motivation. It's willingness. The willingness to endure discomfort, to choose discipline when pleasure calls, to keep going when nothing seems to change. Breaking free is not a moment. It is a continuous process. It begins the moment you say, no more. No more hiding. No more excuses. No more playing small. And with that declaration, you begin to shed what is no longer needed. You stop waiting for the perfect time, the perfect mood, or external permission. Instead, you move forward despite uncertainty. That is sacrifice. That is courage. And that is how freedom begins. Understand this: every time you say no to an unhealthy habit, every time you reject the easy option and choose the harder, better one, you are breaking free. Slowly but surely. You may not see it at first. Every sacrifice rewires your mind. It builds inner structure. It teaches you that you are in control, that you are not at the mercy of your impulses, your emotions, or your environment. You become a builder, of yourself, of your life, of your reality. And when you stay on this path, something shifts. You no longer crave the things you once did. The comfort you once idolized becomes something you willingly trade for growth. The distractions you once ran toward now feel like chains because you've tasted freedom. And once you've experienced it, there's no going back. Sacrifice is not about what you lose. It's about what you gain. And what you gain is strength, clarity, focus, peace, and above all, power. The power to live fully, consciously, and freely. There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize that the life they are living is not the life they are capable of. This moment of awakening is powerful, but it is also uncomfortable, because in that moment you come face to face with the truth. To become who you are meant to be, you must let go of who you've been. This is where sacrifice becomes necessary. Not because life demands suffering, but because evolution demands shedding. Just as a snake must lose its old skin to grow, you must release the parts of you that no longer serve your higher path. The journey to freedom is not paved with comfort, it is paved with choices, hard choices. And every one of them asks you to leave something behind. Something. Might be your fear of failing, your attachment to other people's opinions, your addiction to convenience, or your unwillingness to start. Whatever it is, if it's keeping you stuck, it must go. Sacrifice is not about punishing yourself, it's about purifying yourself. It's about trading short-term comfort for long-term strength. That is the mindset you must develop if you wish to break free. Think of your life as a garden. If you want it to flourish, you cannot simply add water and hope for the best. You must first remove the weeds. The weeds are your distractions, your doubts, your old patterns. If you try to grow new habits without removing the old, you will always be battling inner conflict. This is why so many people feel stuck. They try to upgrade without releasing. They try to add discipline without sacrificing laziness. They try to build confidence while holding on to insecurity. But one must make space for the other. Growth needs room. And room is created through sacrifice. Many people resist this because they want change to feel good. Change rarely feels good at the beginning. It feels unfamiliar, and the human mind clings to what it knows, even when what it knows is unhealthy. So, sacrifice becomes a form of self-liberation. It is the act of saying, I choose what is best for me, even when it's hard. That choice, made consistently, builds power. Not the kind of power that dominates others, but the kind of power that masters self. You do not need a perfect plan. You need a starting point. Choose one habit, one mindset, one behavior that you know is holding you back, and let it go. Replace it with something aligned with your goals. Do this again and again. These small sacrifices, when repeated over time, become the foundation of your transformation. They build resilience. They shape discipline. And eventually, they lead to freedom. Freedom is not something someone gives you. It is something you earn through the process of becoming. And becoming requires letting go. It is a shedding, a release, a sacrifice. And in that sacrifice, you don't lose who you are. You discover who you've always been beneath the noise, the fear, and the lies. That is true freedom. Path to breaking free is not a straight road. It is a winding journey filled with choices, challenges, and necessary sacrifices. When we speak of freedom, we're not referring to external independence alone, but to internal liberation. The freedom to think clearly, act with purpose, and live without being controlled by fear, doubt, or attachment. But this kind of freedom has a price, and that price is sacrifice. Not the kind forced upon you, but the kind you choose. Because you know that staying the same costs more than changing ever will. The Pak. You must understand that the version of you who is truly free lives on the other side of discipline. And to reach that place, you must give up what keeps you small. Every time you choose instant gratification, every time you delay your goals in favor of temporary comfort, you are building walls around your own potential. These walls may not be visible, but they are real, and the only way to tear them down is through intentional sacrifice. You must give up what feels good now for what will feel right later. That's where true freedom begins. Most people carry chains they've built themselves. Chains made of their habits, routines, and thoughts. Chains of I'm not ready, or I'm not good enough, or what if I fail? But these chains can be broken, not by hoping, not by wishing, but by action. By sacrificing the need to be perfect and instead choosing progress. By letting go of validation and choosing self-trust. By turning away from distractions and choosing direction. Every time you sacrifice something that doesn't serve your growth, you reclaim a part of your strength. Sacrifice is often misunderstood because people focus on what they're losing. But those who grow focus on what they're gaining. Letting go of a limiting belief opens the door to confidence. Sacrificing an hour of entertainment gives you an hour of self-development. Saying no to comfort gives you the chance to build resilience. These are not losses. They are investments. Investments in the life you want, running through the park, the person you're becoming, and the purpose that pulls you forward. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to do the work for you. You must become your own liberator. You must decide that enough is enough, that your future is worth more than your excuses. And that decision must be backed with action. You don't need to change everything at once. Just start by sacrificing one thing today that you know is keeping you stagnant. Replace it with one thing that pulls you closer to your goal. That one change, repeated daily, compounds. It builds momentum, and soon you begin to feel it. Freedom. Not because your life got easier, because you got stronger. True freedom is not the absence of discipline. It is the result of it. And discipline is born from sacrifice. The sooner you embrace this, the sooner you unlock the life that is waiting for you. So make the choice, not later. Now, because your freedom depends on it. Every human being is born with unlimited potential. Most never realize it, not because they are incapable, but because they are unwilling to sacrifice what is necessary to uncover it. The idea of sacrifice may sound harsh, but is one of the most empowering truths you can accept to break free from the patterns, behaviors, and thoughts that limit you. You must be willing to let go of what is easy and familiar. You must step away from the comfortable routines that provide temporary satisfaction and choose the path that offers lasting transformation. This is not a punishment. It is a calling to rise above who you've been and reach toward who you could become. The world around you constantly encourages indulgence. It promotes comfort, distraction, and instant gratification. Nothing extraordinary has ever been created in comfort. Greatness is born in the uncomfortable space between who you are and who you want to be. And that space is crossed through sacrifice. You must give up wasting time for purposeful action. You must trade your doubts for courage, even when fear still lingers. You must let go of blaming others and take full responsibility for your life. This is the mental shift that opens the door to freedom. Look closely at the life you are living. Are you making choices from a place of purpose, or are you simply reacting to the demands of the day? Are you designing your life, or are you just surviving it? True freedom comes when you no longer allow your emotions, your circumstances, or your past to dictate your future. And the way to that freedom is through intentional sacrifice. You must cut away what does not serve the highest vision you have for yourself. It may be an old habit, a toxic connection, or a self-limiting belief you've carried for years. Whatever it is, you already know what it is, and deep down, you know it must go. Sacrifice is how you reclaim control. When you intentionally say, I will no longer feed this weakness, you begin to reshape your identity. You stop being a prisoner of your past and become the architect of your future. That's not just powerful, it's liberating. You realize that the chains holding you were never made of steel. They were made of fear, of comfort, of avoidance. And when you let go of those, you begin to move with a new kind of energy, an energy that is focused, grounded, and unstoppable. This is a lifelong journey. There will always be more layers to peel away, more sacrifices to make. But with every layer you shed, you get closer to your authentic self. You become lighter, clearer, and more aligned. And that alignment gives you strength that cannot be taken away. It becomes your foundation, the kind that no storm can shake. Freedom is not something found outside of you. It is built from within, one sacrifice at a time. And it begins the moment you decide that your growth is worth more than your comfort. Make that decision. Then live it every single day. There is a moment in everyone's life when they begin to feel the quiet frustration of being stuck in routines, stuck in fears, in identities that no longer reflect who they truly are. This feeling is not something to run from. It's a signal, powerful internal call toward change. But change, real and lasting, cannot happen without sacrifice. That is the truth many ignore. You cannot become free by holding on to everything. You cannot elevate your life while dragging your past with you. To break free, something must be left behind. That is the price of growth. And those who are brave enough to pay it find something most people never do: liberation. You might ask, what do I need to sacrifice? The answer is not the same for everyone, but it's always something meaningful. Maybe it's the need to be liked. Maybe it's the false comfort of procrastination, running through the park. Maybe it's the belief that you're not capable of change. Whatever it is, if it's limiting your progress, it's time to let it go. Because every time you hold on to a limitation, you reinforce the cage you're trying to escape. And every time you let go, even just a little, you weaken that cage and move closer to your potential. Many people wait for motivation to arrive before they begin, but motivation is unreliable. What you need is conviction, a deep inner decision that you are no longer available for the version of life that keeps you small. That decision is the beginning of transformation, and it only becomes real when you act on it through sacrifice. Wake up earlier. Down your distractions. Show up even when you're tired. Train your mind, discipline your body, speak the truth, face your fears. These are all forms of sacrifice. And together they build momentum. They change the way you think. They turn intention into identity. The greatest mistake people make is thinking that sacrifice is about loss. It is not. Sacrifice is about exchange. You are not losing your freedom. You are buying it. You are exchanging comfort for clarity, trading reaction for responsibility, swapping the approval of others for self-respect. These are not things that weaken you. These are the exact decisions that make you unshakable. And once you begin this path, you'll look back and wonder why you ever held on so tightly to what was holding you down. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need a perfect routine or a flawless plan. You only need one thing: the willingness to begin. Begin with one sacrifice. Just one. Then repeat it. Let the repetition sharpen your focus and harden your resolve. Let it teach you that you are capable of far more than you thought. And most importantly, running through the park, let it remind you that the door to freedom was never locked. It was simply waiting for you to turn the handle, to walk through, and to leave your excuses behind. That is the way forward. And that is how you break free